Hi there, I'm Andrea Koppel, and it's time for coffee, the podcast where you get to hear firsthand what the jobs and careers that interest you the most are really like. Hey there, Java junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T for C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career double shot K-Cup with my guest, Theresa VanderMeer. I love your own resume's description of what you do as CEO. You write, I built this. There's an exclamation point.
Yeah.
From an idea in my head to a real live breathing machine that employs over 40 women and 4 lucky men in a true social enterprise based in both New Delhi and Chicago. Can you take us into a typical day for you, Theresa? Either a typical day for you working outside of Delhi and then a day when you're there.
Sure. So when I'm outside of Delhi, one of the first things I do is talk to my team. So I'm either talking to my team in the United States. So I've got a production manager, I've got a marketing manager, we've got the finance. And then in India, I've got production and then finance and logistics. So typically the first thing I do when I wake up is India's ending their day. So I want to see what's going on. What's been the progress overnight? Does anyone need anything from me? But while I still work in the business with managing some orders, my main focus is really on making sure my team has what they need. And you asked me what my favorite part of the work is. And I said, really working with the women. But my second favorite part of the work is working with my managers and helping them oversee their teams and become better at what they're doing. So, I adore my team. Like I said, my managers in India, I've worked with them for 7 years each, and I'm really invested in their growth. And I feel like they experience that sense of ownership over they know that their voice matters and that they can influence what happens. So typically I'm talking to them. Then I'm either talking to prospective clients about work we can do for them, or I'm pitching in on some existing orders that maybe we're having some challenges with, or maybe the team needs some extra support on communicating with the client about what's going on. So I'm really there for my team. And then sprinkled in between might be conversations with a prospective investor. That's something that we recently started looking into, or looking into a special, a project with a consultant on more ethical fibers and deepening the different possibilities available for our fabrics. So it really runs the gamut, and that's part of the fun of it.
Did you ever think that you would become an expert on textiles?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because for me, I came from a macroeconomic, women, supporting women through getting money in their hands kind of initiative. I like to shop like the rest of them, but maybe not actually. For me, the clothing and what we make is really a means to an end. And it's important because the whole machine has to work. The system of Work Shelter does not work if we don't get orders and if we don't get revenue. There's no way to pay the women if we don't get orders. And so it's an essential part of the work. But for me, my passion is really about the individual stakeholders that we work with.
Absolutely. How has COVID affected your business and bottom line? I listened to another podcast interview you gave, I guess, earlier in 2020. And
Sure.
You said that you had only had to lay off one person, and that was yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I'm really proud to say that we grew during the pandemic. We increased our sales, even though we were closed. We were under lockdown for 2 full months in India. And, as you can imagine, business disappeared. I cannot believe that we grew. But I think it's a testament to how consciousness around ethical production, around conscious consumption, around, engaging more deeply with the material world that we experience every day is really becoming more important for folks. And so, that's part of it. It's also a testament to the work that my team did. I talked earlier about the promotional product space and the designer space. The promotional product space is largely built on events. And clearly there have not been many in-person events at all. And so I think we saw an 80% decline in that space in revenue. But it was all picked up by the designer business. And so during the early years of Work Shelter, we weren't actually able to make complex sewn items. But every year we just kept pushing and pushing, and we just got a little bit better and a little bit better. And we invested more into training. And so, when the promotional products business disappeared, we actually had all of these skills that we were able to bring into the designer business. So that really helped us get through.
I'm so glad to hear that. And please remind me, because my brother-in-law and my brother-in-law owns the business. Well, I should say he's the CEO. He actually just sold it at the beginning of 2020, but he owns a promotional marketing company, big one. And
Sure.
My sister's a vice president there. So we'll have to get Work Shelter connected.
Love this plan. Very good plan.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to Time for Coffee, where the professionals in the jobs that most interest you always have time to grab coffee 24/7, no matter where you live. I have one quick favor to ask you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Time for Coffee. Thanks so much.